You find yourself in that quiet space. Again, don't you? Slowly, gently, noticing how the world outside continues its urgent hum, while inside you, everything begins to slow, softening into a whisper that invites deeper listening. It's as if the fierce drive that once propelled you forward has gradually transformed into something far gentler, almost like an invisible hand resting lightly on your shoulder, encouraging you to pause, to breathe, to simply be. And within this sacred pause, a profound truth awaits, one that could gently shift the way you perceive these moments. If you allow this to unfold, layer by gentle layer, breath by breath, it might begin to make perfect sense in ways you never quite expected, pulling you deeper into a quiet understanding of why this is happening and why, truly, it is not a loss at all, but something far wiser. But before we fully arrive there, let yourself consider this possibility softly, without rush. What if this seemingly fading spark is not a personal failure, not a sign of giving up, but instead a subtle signal rising from deep within, from something ancient, protective, and profoundly wise, that has been quietly watching over you through every chapter of your life? It's all too easy to quickly label it as laziness, as drifting away, as some kind of internal breakdown. Yet just beneath those surface judgments lies a much deeper current, one that has been patiently gathering its quiet strength in the hidden shadows of your being. We'll return to this soon, exploring exactly what that current represents and how it has been tenderly safeguarding vulnerable parts of you that the relentless rush of modern life might otherwise overlook or overwhelm. For now, simply let it linger here as a gentle question echoing in the silence. Could this profound quiet be not an ending, but the subtle beginning of something far more aligned, far more true? Let that gentle question settle deeply for a long moment, breathing slowly into all the hidden spaces where doubt and self-criticism usually find their way in. You've almost certainly felt that heavy familiar weight pressing down, the one that softly whispers you're somehow falling behind everyone else, that you should be pushing yourself harder, achieving more visible things, keeping pace with the relentless, unforgiving rhythm that's so many around. You seem to navigate with apparent ease, but right here, in this moment, pause even deeper and begin to feel how that weight truly isn't yours alone to bear forever. It is not evidence of weakness, nor of a resolve that is somehow broken. Rather, it is your vast inner world responding with remarkable intelligence. A quiet, ancient intelligence that intuitively knows precisely when to withdraw, when the rich source of your entire being requires extended time to rest, to restore, to quietly renew itself from within. Picture it vividly, like a vast garden, entering the depths of winter where the surface appears completely barren and eschew. Yet far below, in the darkness, roots are steadily deepening, absorbing essential nourishment, preparing silently for the inevitable bloom that will come in its own perfect season. This phase you're in isn't mere procrastination, nor is it defeat in any form. It's deliberate preservation, natural, cyclical rhythm that deeply honors the ebb and flow inherent in all living things, actively protecting you from the devastating burnout that inevitably arrives when growth is forced, prematurely or relentlessly. You have done absolutely nothing wrong by entering this space. In truth, you've been listening, perhaps unconsciously, at first to a timeless wisdom that predates every productivity hack, every deadline, every external measure of success. Gently release the heavy guilt that binds you to endless shoulds and allow this compassionate to flow over you like a slow, healing tide, gradually loosening all the tight knots of self-judgment that have accumulated over time. Your entire system, this intricate, miraculous weave of mind, body, emotions, and deeper spirit, is not betraying or abandoning you in any way. It is actively shielding you from the soul-draining exhaustion of perpetual striving, from continually pouring your precious energy into directions or pursuits that no longer resonate with your evolving deeper truth. Recall those times when you pushed forward anyway, ignoring the signals, only to emerge feeling profoundly depleted, strangely hollow inside, questioning why even the hard-won victories rang so empty in your heart. That emptiness was the clue all along. This apparent disappearance of motivation functions as a wise guardian standing at the inner gate, softly but firmly closing doors to whatever drains or you, simultaneously creating spacious room for what genuinely nourishes your essence. This isn't about needing to fix or force yourself back into motion. It's about tenderly recognizing that you are already profoundly whole, already adapting in subtle, intelligent ways that prioritize your long-term well-being over short-term appearances. Breathe deeply into this gentle recognition now, allowing it to soften every sharp edge of lingering shame, revealing how this quiet protection has been present all along, patiently steering you toward sustainable balance, toward way of living that feels authentic rather than merely performative. No longer blame the natural ebb for failing to mimic constant high tide. Instead, honor it fully as the essential breath between ocean waves, vital, restorative, and profoundly wise in its timing. And as you begin to honor that EB more fully, perhaps you can now start to precisely name what has been stirring so elusively just beneath the surface all this time, that unnamed, unspoken sensation, lingering like thick morning fog, gently rolling in over the mirrored surface of a perfectly still lake. At dawn, it goes far beyond simple tiredness or passing fatigue. It's much deeper, hush, enveloping everything. A subtle yet pervasive retraction where the once colors of ambition and drive slowly fade into soft shades of grayscale, and the familiar pull toward decisive action becomes muffled, distant, as though filtered through many layers of rich, protective earth. You may notice it emerging first in the subtle language of your body, a tender heaviness settling in the center of your chest, a natural slowing of your breath's rhythm, where each slow inhale carries faint whispers of quiet reluctance, and each extended exhale releases long-held burdens you didn't even realize were there. It feels akin to standing alone at the vast edge of an endless open field, with faint winds carrying distant echoes of passions that once ignited you instantly. Yet now those echoes arrive, transform, questioning, inviting contemplation rather than immediate response. This is never true emptiness. It's a profound recalibration taking place, a silent yet thorough inventory of the soul's deepest contents, where old desires are carefully weighed against the emerging quiet truths of your ever-evolving inner landscape. Feel it more intimately in the gentle rhythm of your ordinary days. How tasks that previously sparked immediate urgency now rest like ancient stones in a slow-moving river, completely unmoving, while your awareness drifts effortlessly toward subtler beauties, the dancing play of soft light on rippling water, the unspoken inner dialogues unfolding in silence, the quiet observations of your own thoughts. This is the sensation of a profound inward turning, reminiscent of an ancient tree patiently drawing its vital sap back toward the deep core during autumn's surrender, not preparing for any kind of death, but rather gathering strength for a richer, more vibrant life. To emergi latte, you've encountered this before, haven't you? In various forms. That indescribable yet unmistakable shift where the overwhelming noise of the external world gradually recedes into the background, and in its place arises a vast contemplative silence, one that patiently invites you to listen closely to the unspoken, often ignored needs of your deeper being, the accumulated fatigue from countless unseen emotional efforts, the slow buildup of tiny daily dissonances layering like sediment on the riverbed of your psyche. Psychologically, it is indeed a built-in protective mechanism, evolutionarily wired to preserve us. Yet, it is simultaneously something far more profound and subtle. Spiritual attunement to the eternal ebb and flow of all energy, where the wise body communicates what the analytical mind has not yet fully articulated or acknowledged. Envision it now as a translucent veil, slowly descending from above, gently blurring all the harsh, demanding edges of external expectations, creating safe space for long-hidden tender wounds to surface softly, gradually, without the overwhelming clamor of constant daily demands. This careful naming process brings a new kind of luminous clarity, doesn't it? Revealing that what we've called demotivation is actually refined discernment to quiet, inner wisdom patiently sorting what genuinely calls to your soul from amid the endless cacophony of modern life. Allow these vivid images to settle deeply within you now, painting your internal canvas with deliberate strokes of true understanding, watching as the once confusing sensation gently transforms into a trusted companion, a faithful presence that has been guiding and protecting you every step of the way. Now, that trusted companionship continues to deepen naturally. Allow yourself a subtle yet powerful turn further inward, where the full reframing can begin to unfold. Gradually, like the first soft rays of dawn light filtering slowly through dense, ancient leaves in a quiet forest. What if this extended protective pause is never truly a barrier blocking your path, but instead serves as a hidden bridge, patiently connecting you to a far more authentic, personal rhythm, one that harmonizes perfectly with the quiet, steady pulse of your true self, rather than constantly fighting against the artificial, imposed tempos of the surrounding world. From psychological perspective, it represents your sensitive nervous system wisely intervening, conserving precious internal resources whenever subtle overload begins to threaten your equilibrium, much like an entire forest ecosystem choosing to lie dormant through harsh seasons in order to regenerate fully after a devastating storm. Yet spiritually, this goes even deeper. It's a soulful recalibration, quietly inviting you to release long-held illusions of mandatory constant productivity, to embrace instead profound sacredness of intentional rest as a direct form of inner communion with your deepest essence. Notice how this gentle shift begins to release you completely from exhausting cycles of force and willpower, allowing pure energy to begin flowing again in its natural, unhurried way, not manufactured through effort, but emerging organically from a renewed wellspring of genuine, heartfelt inspiration. If these words are resonating somewhere deep inside you right now, then you already intuitively know exactly why. You've been drawn here, pulled by Somi, invisible yet compelling thread, seeking gentle external confirmation of truths your own intuition has been whispering for quite some time. Let that deep resonance continue building now. Layer upon soft layer, slowly transforming what once appeared a stagnation into a profoundly fertile void, a sacred, empty space where entirely new possibilities can quietly gestate in perfect silence. Away from pressure, this is both a crucial psychological pivot, fully acknowledging the remarkable adaptive intelligence embedded in your mind and nervous system, and simultaneously a gentle spiritual awakening to the ever-present protective grace that envelops you, constantly guiding without ever demanding or rushing. Breathe slowly and deeply into this inner turned, feeling old weights, lifting gradually as you reframe the pervasive quiet, not as mere absence or lack, but as rich, meaningful presence, a profound, loving, protective presence that has been faithfully safeguarding your core essence all along, patiently ensuring that whenever true motivation chooses to return, it arrives firmly rooted in personal truth rather than external obligation or fear. Yet even within this beautiful reframing, you may still sense a gentle but noticeable separation emergent between your inner world and the one outside, a soft divergence where the dominant rhythms of others begin to feel increasingly out of sync with your own emerging cadence. Very few people truly understand or recognize this particular stage because its gifts are rarely visible in conventional metrics of success, the impressive promotions, the completed checklists, the outward displays of constant progress that contemporary society tends to celebrate above all else. Instead, this is a deeply internal journey, one that unfolds gradually in the most hidden chambers of the self, far removed from the bright glare of collective expectations and comparisons. While much of the world continues rushing forward in seemingly perpetual motion, obsessively chasing each next milestone with unyielding, relentless drive, your inner system chooses instead to pause, deliberately, actively, protecting you from absorbing that same exhausting frenzy, from the soul disconnection that inevitably arises when one forces alignment with a pace that fundamentally isn't theirs. This temporary misalignment can sometimes feel quietly isolating, like walking alone through a densely crowded street where countless conversations buzz energetically all around you, yet none quite touch or reflect the profound quiet truths you're carefully exploring deep within yourself. Well-meaning people may offer familiar advice, push harder, create goals, rediscover your original why, but they usually speak from places of external validation and cultural conditioning, often without realizing that your current retreat represents a profoundly wiser response to an overwhelmingly overstimulated existence filled with constant input. This explains why so many eventually burn out completely, desperately chasing elusive shadows of fulfillment in endless activity, while you, in your chosen stillness, are being carefully preserved and prepared for something far deeper, far more personally aligned and sustainable. The broader world rarely perceives the quiet intelligence woven into this protection because it has been deeply conditioned to prioritize visible action over meaningful introspection, speed over genuine depth, output over inner integration. But right here, in this shared space of contemplation, you can begin to recognize the immense gift hidden within that apparent separation. It's not true loneliness at all, but rather a profound form of liberation, granting you permission to fully attune to your own unique inner cadence, completely free from the ongoing dissonance created by perpetually mismatched external energies. And as you continue attuning